a big breaking story that we're tracking for you at Tesa. There is a top-level meeting of the government, union ministers of the government that is taking place at the Prime Minister's residence. Sanket Upadhyay joins us with the very latest. Sanket, the government there in a huddle, top ministers, Home Minister, Defence Minister, Agriculture Minister, Commerce Minister, all present at the Prime Minister's residence to deliberate on a strategy going forward.
That's right. In fact, the Prime Minister has inquired about this agitation in the past also, from what we have learned. But this is the first formal and a big meeting that has taken place at the Prime Minister's residence as far as this 10-day-long standoff between the farmers and the government is concerned. We are now learning from credible sources that just ahead of the fifth meeting, the indication that the Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar had given at the end of last meeting on the 3rd of December, where he said that the government is considering, changes to certain aspects of the farm laws. It appears that the Prime Minister is going to be briefed on those alterations or those amendments. And if all goes well, at least from the government's point of view, then in that case, this will be communicated to the farmers today. The only problem here, Rishika, is that the amendments that the central government is proposing to the laws is not acceptable to a majority of the farmers. The farmers on their part have already rejected any attempt to make a piecemeal change to these laws. They feel that this law is structurally flawed, and that is why it must go in its present form, and then the deliberations must start to form a new law, and it should be ground up with a lot of consultation from the key constituency, that is the farmers. Now that, I think, is not acceptable to the government as of this moment, because what the government is trying to do is trying to understand what exactly is the objection, narrow down the objection to 2 or 3 main points, and then offer amendments along those lines. So we still do not know whether what exactly are going to be those amendments that the government is going to accept or reject. However, we had some indication after the 3rd of December meeting where Narendra Singh Tomar said, number one, that more legal rights to the farmers was one major concern, and that could perhaps be addressed, because in this law, they could not go beyond the SDM. Will they get more legal rights? Will that concern be met? We'll have to wait and watch. The other important point was on a written assurance on MSP. Now, is the government going to do that? That is also going to be very, very significant. And the third important point that the government raised was on parity. Parity between the private mandis as well as the APMCs, because this was a matter of huge concern to the farmers. They felt that the manner in which these laws are made and worded, this is going to come as a huge disadvantage for the APMC or the existing mandi system. To which Narendra Singh Tomar said that no, we are working or considering an effort where there will be a parity between the private mandis and the APMCs. Now, this in itself, we'll have to look at the details, because this statement itself is all-encompassing. If there is parity, then in that case, a major chunk of the fear of the farmers should ideally go. But the farmers on their part, after having studied post this meeting, the marathon meeting that took place on the 3rd of December, which went on for 8 hours, after having a detailed discussion, said that this is very, very piecemeal and knee-jerk by the government, where they're forcing down a law which is structurally flawed and then offering amendments. They also question the fact that what of a law which within 2 months of its existence requires amendments, and the government acknowledges it, which means that it is flawed. So the farmers' unions demand on their part that you do away with this law first and then start the deliberation process so that we can have a better, bigger law.